Yes, we are. We live, baby. That's cool. I mean, I'm glad.
I saw a video.
I'm glad you checked first. I just keep
It kind of had to do with Donald Trump. We just kind of we talked about
with Donald Trump.
This Hispanic woman. I guess she was a big campaign.
Oh, Venezuela. We talked about that.
Shit, they're out of me.
I saved the
Thank
last.
you for your service.
I saved the last part. What's on your mind? So we can talk about whatever. I figured that'd be the thing.
That's actually funny, though. People starting to see, like,
she's from Venezuela. Because he promised the Venezuela population that they weren't going to be included. Psych. He did everything he said he was going to do except lower the price of groceries.
Yeah. I mean,
everything else he did.
And it's crazy. Like, some fucking people say to look up.
What do y'all think about the taxes? He about to get rid of the IRS? Get rid of that tax?
I don't know. Some of us watching us already, so that way we can defund. Yeah, because you know they give them a week.
Yeah.
If the schools don't stop DDI,
I heard that.
They want to defund them.
Also, I gotta check up on some of this stuff, but like some of them people that he allowed to buy out from the federal government, he not paying them out.
Yeah. Wait, well, he also tried to sign an order that he wanted to overrule the judges.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is that he has the MO of not paying people for a service or job. So why would you think he's gonna pay you?
That'll be, we can get to that. What you think? but I'll say, and that's why I leave the 10 minutes as you get to bank and stuff. But it's funny because he told you what he's gonna do. And people, I don't know. I think it's human nature to think that you're excluded. So I don't know. I don't know. But he told you what he was going to do. He told you he was going to Elon Musk, and they were going to cut all the funding. They cut the free aid. But you see how Africa came back though.
And I even heard him and Elon. I heard a little
because what his son said. Yeah. His son, when Trump was in the chair in the video conversation, what you sitting there for? You're not the president.
And that's because Elon talked like that.
But South Africa clapped back.
They should.
So what they said?
They my people.
Hey, my people, man. They was like, yo, this ain't the country.
They not my ancestors.
They said, yo, this ain't the country. Y'all see us as this weak country, no more. So what's gonna happen is they effective Monday, no more American business can do business in South Africa.
Listen.
They said, okay, y'all want to play?
It's gonna be whole new world order coming up. After a lot of these things that get implemented are in place for a while, it's going to be.
I'll say this. It's very interesting. Like growing up in history class, you hear about certain events and time periods, and you think to yourself, like, "Oh, that's interesting." We live such a progressive time now. You don't think anything like crazy going to happen like that.
Now you laugh.
Napoleon Hill said, "People who don't know their history are doomed
This is
to
for the
repeat
history books here. We live in.
So we are repeating history because people don't know their history. The people said, "I'm not voting." The people said, "Don't matter who you vote for." It's all coming out now. Yeah. Because it does matter. Mm-hmm. And what Trump is doing is he's doing three things. One, and we get on off the show, but one, he's galvanized a group of people who always felt like that. This ain't new. Everybody like people just woke up one day. Nah, they've been.
He's a voice for
they've been
a group that was dormant.
Because he's not even charismatic. It's not like dude gets up there and get these powerful speeches to me. No, he knew how to reach an audience.
He has a different type of charisma. I will say
he is not the definition of charisma. The people. No, come on.
You talking about Trump?
He's like wrestling charisma.
Yes. Yes. Like a wrestler.
He's like a wrestler kind of charisma. He's like that.
That don't count, man.
That actually is like a good analogy.
He'll cut a good promo,
But he's not because
you're not gonna go to him.
But he's not a John Cena. He's not he's not those kind of guys. He's not the guy that when he
like
comes
Hulk Hogan right now.
He's like dementia right now.
He's like Hulk Hogan.
Hulk probably got dementia. Hulk probably got dementia right now. They talking about Hulk Hogan. But back in the day, one like that, because Hulk was like,
But I'm saying the Hulk had a stretch where he was the bad guy. He was the heel.
So that part, but that's something he's not. It's not like the guy that gets his powerful speech. He's awakened a group of people who, and you said this before. We had a whole debate. We were upstairs talking about, he'd given a group of people a voice who felt like they didn't have a voice. It's not even about right or wrong. It's like, and we talked about it, the replacement theory. They felt like they were being squeezed out, and this guy came back, and now they're relevant again.
But you know what? I think one thing that we can't overlook, and like when we say his not having charisma or like not a powerful speaker. He speaks in a way that he needs to for that group. But I don't think he's powerful enough to connect with people like you and I. But he speaks in a way that is like people think they like that.
No, but it's not him. It's his message. There's a difference. There's a difference between you and your message. There's some people who could deliver a message and they galvanize people. There's some people who just say what people want to hear. It's like, and I know somebody get upset when I say it. Some people get, yeah, they do. They do. I'm not disagreeing with that. But it's like when you go to church, and I know some people won't get upset. This. Some people will go to a church because they like the building, they like the church. It may not be the best sermon, it may not be the best, or it's convenient.
Play good music.
Yeah, and then there's some people who go to church because the praise and worship is bumping, and then there's some people who just follow a pastor because he is charismatic. He may not be teaching nothing, but he could get up there and say the ABCs and people start shouting, "You teaching now?" So I mean, I'm not downplaying Trump's significance, but he's galvanized a group of people with his message. Yeah. It's not his demeanor, it's not his, it's his message. He reached a group of people and he delivers that message well.
Yeah,
he does that. He the one you can say about him is he does him well. He's not trying to be like somebody else. He does it well.
I'm just saying, and knowing and talking to some Trump supporters, they like how he carries himself. They think,
but that's not the charisma. See, that's not charismatics. I'm talking about is the way he carries himself. He carries himself like the grumpy old man. I'm not knocking it because it works for him. It's working. Anybody that says it's not working is not alive now. They're oblivious. They think it's not working. I heard somebody the other day on TV debating. What are you debating? It's working because he won. And you got the whole Republican Party afraid of him. They ain't saying nothing. All this stuff is going on. So whatever he's doing is working.
It's the quid pro quo. It's like
he's fired.
Something for something, or he's gone. Like that's really the.
Like my last point. Like Alabama. Alabama University is about to get crushed by this DEI. They're about to get crushed because the white women in Alabama University do well because of DEI. So when this money goes away, a lot of them are going to lose their jobs.
I mean, but
they didn't know that because he made them think DEI was a black thing.
Yeah, but that's actually the funny part about the DEI conversation. Is maxed in just this hatred for black people, honestly, and when people not even realizing that this is bigger than just us, it's impacting everyone in some type of way.
But I think, when you and we about to start our show, we are that's probably 10 minutes. Pre-10. No, I just think and you get it like I know somebody.
It's the warm up before the game.
I know somebody who falls into the category, and it's funny because they're from Mansfield. Remember, I told you about them from Mansfield, and y'all kind of warned me. Those stuff is starting to bear fruit, starting to come true. But I think that's almost a perfect example because I feel like I'm not me, but it was said to somebody else. Well, when he talks to me like he thinks he's smarter than me. It wasn't nothing, you know what I mean? So, but that's kind of where you are because there's a certain group of people who feel like, y'all progressing too fast. Matter of fact, y'all passed us now. I can no longer say everybody acts like Tyrone, everybody acts like Shaniqua. I can no longer do that. Even with the power of social media and media, there's enough positive people out there doing positive things now where it's not as easy to push that message around people who don't believe what I believe.
You get told something all your life, and then you see it for yourself in your face, and it doesn't add up.
It's funny because I was watching The Pivot. I love The Pivot with Ryan Clark, and they had Cooper DeJean on there, and it's the perfect. But it's funny because
a funny story about
it's the reverse because they said, "How do you feel?" And they were trying to figure out how to say it. Finally, he came out and said it like, "You're a white dude playing a black man's position."
Yeah.
And everybody, and I know that's what everybody says. That when they see, what you doing? That's kind of the thing. He said, because they went back and watched his tapes. He said, when I watched you in high school, you weren't shooting those threes, you were dunking on everybody.
Who was it?
In and out.
Yeah. So, but that's the perfect example, though, how, people, to your point, we lock onto something and we stay with the image instead of reality. The reality is he's one of the top quarters in the league right now. That's the reality. Forget what you think the stereotype, but there's certain people who stick to that stereotype. It's the same thing. I was talking to somebody the other day about Jalen Hurts. They comparing their stats to the top four. So all these morons out there, when they ask them, who would you rather have right now, name in the top four. So I love it because this kid came back, this 18-year-old kid came back and said, but none of them won a Super Bowl. So how would you claim a quarterback that's never even been to a Super Bowl other than Joe Burrow? But again, you lock into the past. And I think that's the one thing Trump has been very good at. His messaging. He's not screaming, he's not howling, he's not cursing. He stays on point because there's a large group of people out here. And I remember we had a long discussion about it, that they're afraid. So anyway, let's get into the show now. We already passed. We can
bring that back. I love that.
That can bring our reading back. But I'm trying to stick to
welcome everybody.
Yeah, we
to Above Average Black Men. Y'all just caught the banner part of the episode.
Devin started that.
Talking behind
format.
The scenes. Yes. But we do have a plethora of topics that we'll get here today. But starting off intros. We're
still starting at 7:30.
Yes.
I just put the 10 minutes, so we can. Usually we rush right into stuff. But hey, Chris Pender Sr.,
Chris Jr., as always, here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community.
Devin Pender, follow, subscribe, share, comment.
And I'm sporting at HBCU, Lincoln University. I want to make sure
And I just happen to have on an orange hoodie.
See, he knew. He got the vibe. He got the vibe.
I went to an HBCU a couple times.
He got the vibe. Yeah, you went for the wrong reason. You went for the B. You ain't go for the rest of it.
That's why some people may have actually attended.
That's why my dad wouldn't let me go.
If anything, I was smart enough just to visit.
The first topic we'll talk about is staying focused in time filled with distractions.
That's the perfect segment.
Because that's why I brought it up, because you got folk now who your mom said it to you. Michael Steele, who was a big time Republican, has been going off on everybody. Mm-hmm. Your mom said it to you about how people just not paying attention.
Yeah.
How people are just being distracted by the small stuff. And I go back to what I said before. It just like Roe versus Wade. You got everybody looking at Roe versus Wade. Nobody looked at the fact that we just gave him the power to do what he's doing now. Just overturn laws now. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, more and more people are focused on the small stuff and not the big stuff. Yeah. So, we got the boycott coming up Friday. You're not supposed to buy anything from anywhere. Don't even buy gas. So hopefully you got your gas up on Friday, because what? Hopefully you ain't got dinner reservations. But anyway.
Actually, that works out for me. We can't go on that date, baby.
I got some eggs.
We are boycotting. Everything's from home.
So
date night's canceled.
So trying to stay, how do you stay focused? And because people are getting so distracted that they're missing the big picture. I think they're missing the big picture, man. You get so focused on one thing, they're not missing the totality of what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It's actually funny that you are saying, because recently I seen a video of Steve Bannon. You remember him? That was like one of Trump's guys. And what he said is playing out right in front of us right now. And it goes a lot into what you're saying about us being distracted. It's intentional. If they continuously throw out these smaller, minute things, they can then push behind the larger things that,
and that's what they don't.
Right. So it's like things that we get stuck and distracted on that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. They're really then just tackling and taking away things that benefit us all. And again, like even when we mentioned DEI, like just it's that dog whistle of saying like, all right, this helps this group of people without realizing that it's helping and benefiting us all.
But I think with DEI is a perfect example, because we just so used to saying DEI that I don't think people understand. Like
they hear DEI and think black.
Who's there are some people, but why would you be against diversity? You know what I mean? Why would you be against, equity or inclusion? Why? So, I think, but when you lump it together, people don't hear what you're talking about. Just like I'm sure those white women in Alabama had no idea that they were going to get slammed in this thing.
You know what's crazy, too, is that, for even the conversation about DEI, and just when they're talking about what it does, people don't acknowledge, I guess, what is prevalent or exists. Is that there's still prejudice and stereotypes and these biases that hinder certain groups of people from getting opportunities. And I think that's even probably at the root of this too, is nobody's being handed anything. But I think it's an opportunity to at least be in the area to then see what can happen from there.
But I think that's the biggest travesty, is that there is no discussions about racism. There is no, and I think that's why it always comes back. Because there's no open conversations, until you admit something is wrong, you can't fix it. But I think some people who don't look like us believe when they admit that it's wrong, that they think they're a part of it. Automatically they assume, because I was in the church discussion, this happened in church, people started feeling, nobody's talking about you. Just like there's some of us who don't like white people for no reason at all. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the ones who fall into this category.
But that's actually another good point there too. Is like this. People instantly attach themselves to the problem or to the conversation and can't look at it from this broader spectrum of like, who else does this impact?
But you know what's funny to me, and I could be wrong, but I think in most cases, people who do that, they do it for a good reason. Because maybe not at that time, but probably some point in their life, man, they had some biases, they've done some things, and it kind of hit home a little bit. Yeah. So I think, and I think
they don't even realize it. It could be subconsciously like.
Because somebody says, "Well, it don't include me because I got a black friend." You know, when they tell you the story about, I was out with my black, but they don't, that's the response. That's the response. You know, we were having a similar conversation without going detail the other day when you were over here. Yeah. That there's some people, man, who it gives them a sense of superiority. So they assume that, black folk, we come from broken homes. I was talking to somebody at work. We were having the same conversation that the same person from Mansfield and some other people that entered the building. We were talking about why people view us like that. And I told them because they have become so accustomed to Rashida and Tyrone that they don't know how to deal with anybody else. Or Ben Carson, the person who sells out. They don't understand that there's black homeowners out there. There's black families that are intact. There's black marriages that lasted a long time. Yeah. There's black entrepreneurs out there. Every black athlete ain't buying 10,000 cars. It was funny because somebody was busting on A.J. Brown because he showed up
in a Toyota or something.
The Honda Accord, a $30,000 Honda Accord, and I'm like, I'm with him.
That's how you save money.
Yeah, and he probably got another car at home. Would you drive to the stadium?
Yeah.
So, but I think we deal with a lot of that now, and I think we as a people have to do a better job because we perpetuate the stereotypes, man. We do. You ride past a project, what you see, Beamers, you see trucks, all kind of stuff like that, man. That many people can't need a big screen TV that every time it's a rebate or something,
I mean, but that's actually funny to talk about. That's another form of distraction for people. Is just like the materialistic things.
But I think so as you get in, but how we get into it, but is it sustainable? See, when you do material things, is it sustainable? And it's not for everybody.
And also, I guess the question ultimately is like, what should people be focused on? I think that also leads to where a lot of people get distracted because it's like you got somebody running here to this way. This is important.
That's a great point. But I think
somebody going here. It's like, what ultimately is it?
For me, I think the first thing is be focused on what's happening in totality. Understand that this is not just about one issue. Like the Venezuelan people who thought they weren't going to be deported, so you home with them were deported. People
ride on one issue.
Yeah, they do.
They don't look at the broader picture.
Right, but I think that's the first thing I would tell somebody is understand the whole thing. Understand him, the stuff he's doing, and understand the big picture.
Too.
And understand the big picture. Stop listening to sound bites. Your favorite piece. Stop looking at social media. All that stuff you got to kind of cut out. And start to really do some research. And I think that's the problem because we listen to sound bites. That's the problem because somebody's got to say somebody could talk for 40 minutes and we not pay attention, but let them say something about something that resonates. We hear that, and sometimes we miss it. I say this all the time. Did you ever notice when you write an email long in the paragraph, people never read the end of it now?
No, I know that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy though? Anything past a paragraph, people. Yeah, you have to. But,
point, right?
But that's the society we live in now. Nobody after a couple minutes, man, we all over the place.
Yes.
And we don't realize if you send me an email about something specific, I need to read both paragraphs so I can fully understand what the conversation is. Not just the first paragraph. Now I'm assuming, you in the second paragraph, you can say you idiot, you dummy, you can say all kinds of stuff. And they wouldn't know. They just respond, oh, I got it.
And it's just like to think about what we're talking about from a day-to-day and work. You know what I mean? Like, and now to think about that on a broader spectrum of just every day making decisions for your life with like just the political climate that we in. It's just like,
so how would you stay focused then? Because I just told you, I think you got to take a look at the whole thing in totality.
I think one thing that, I guess I tried to get to is like having a singular focus on what is important to you and potentially just having a hierarchy and working from there. Like, I think, even for us as Black people, yes, that is important, that we have things that are kind of supportive of our group. And I think we need to ride on that. But economics is also important. And I think we need to be aware of some of those things and try to figure out ways that we can try to, I don't know.
But that's why I said both. But that's why I said totality, because a lot of what you talked about feed each other. Mm-hmm. And I think like we just make a decision based on economics only, because we hear economics, not realizing it's not going to trickle down to us. Like DEI funding. I think a lot of Caucasians don't realize it's not going to skip over your school. Like there was a guy, I saw this clip, and he was trying to explain to his neighbors, one, he thinks African American heritage is a good thing, but they've been teaching in school. So under what's happening, they will fall into that category, that they would lose their funding. So, so I think people don't understand the trickle down. They don't understand, I hear this thing that kind of resonates with me, but not looking at the broader picture of it. So I think one, you get to your point, you got to know what's going on. I think two, we got to be selfless and not selfish, because a lot of times we do things because we think it's great, because it feels good to us, or we think it's going to benefit us. And then we, like the lady from Venezuela, the same thing. You here, but your family being deported. Mm-hmm. And you up there, we love you, Trump. We love you, Trump. People, we love you. Now they talking, he love you too. See you out of here. He love watching you.
I love to see you go.
So I think that's part. And another thing is, I say this all the time. This is my go-to. I think too many people don't know who they are, so they're always falling for something. They're always falling for crap, man.
I think people
always
just
being duped.
Be on the chase, like you're not really standing or grounded on anything, And I think one thing that you instilled in all of us is to not really be a follower.
Well, I'm using up my Eagles analogy early in this show, so I gotta sneak it in. It's funny because he wasn't the only one.
Everything.
He wasn't the only one, but he asked Cooper DeJean. They said, "Well, at what point in the game did you think you won?" He said, we knew we won before we hit the field. He said, he talked about what's the name speech. Saquon Barkley gave a speech. Mm-hmm. He said, we already I seen the tape. I watched it over and over and over again. They can't, he used word, they can't mess with us. So Cooper DeJean was like, no, we already knew we were going to beat them back. When we came on the field, that was our expectations. Everybody was talking about, and Jordan Davis said the same thing. He said, we weren't preparing for everybody talking about the mystique. We came out there where our mission was, we know if we do our job, we're going to beat that. And they did. And I think people in life have to stop. They have to start doing it, man. They got to start focusing, man. So what can we do to be better? What can I do to help the collective be better? And not start looking at this individual stuff. And I think to your point, that's the problem. Like people said, we won't get a check. You ain't get another check.
I did see something about Elon Musk trying to get that $5,000 check out.
No, but he's camouflaging people because he's also want to get everybody's tax records. He's also giving.
Right,
he's also firing people and putting his company in place. So Elon Musk companies, they're gonna be running the country. Elon Musk country's gonna be running the country, man. They're gonna have every meaningful, which means he ain't hiring us.
I work in tech, so look out.
Yeah, but you work in tech, but you ain't no light bright either.
What?
You ain't no light bright.
I'm a bright light.
Yeah, no, you may be a bright light, but you know what I meant.
I identify.
They don't care what you identify. You're going to walk in that room and say, you need to reclassify, son.
My name is Christopher.
Somebody told me that.
IPA on tap.
Put some respect on that name. So our next topic is, we stay on task, man. What are the top 5 things? I figure you guys would love this. What are the top 5 things you think that people are influenced by in today's society? It can be more than 5, but I'm just curious.
Social media is
I should have took it out. I started to say don't use that one, but I'll say, okay, I'll let it go. It is, but it's an easy one, though.
I know. It's unfortunately something that has captivated and dominated us all. Think about it. When Facebook started,
I'm not disagreeing with
to that.
I'm not disagreeing.
And then it's been evolving ever since. Where it's just been
well, I think the thing that makes social media.
Think about people active when TikTok was getting.
But the thing that makes social media to me make it so effective. The thing that makes social media so effective is in every sphere of life. Sports, they use it everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. They use businesses. They use it everywhere.
You feel connected.
It's like the universal language, man.
Yeah.
So, I think the media in general is another influencer.
Yeah.
I think the media is, and that includes marketing, how they pitch certain things to a certain group of people. What looks cool, what doesn't look cool, what's in, what's out. I think that is. I think that's in the top 2 for me.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I got. It used to be celebrities, but I feel like now, so in this day and age, it's more streamers and influencers.
Yeah, they definitely
have. I think still some celebrities. I think you're right. I think influencers have surpassed them, but there's still some celebrities. like Steph.
Because he doesn't get too political. If you don't get too political or don't get too out there,
but he also
still good.
But he acts like a big kid. He's related.
Yeah,
like they were all coming out to blow the whistle, and everybody was coming out. He started coming out doing latest dance. Everybody was coming out like kind of walking out. And he like, yo, yeah, he So I think he's plus he's not AI, but it's like AI. He changed the culture of basketball.
Yeah.
So I think people, he's kind of iconic.
So athletes definitely probably go into that.
And I think rappers, as much as I hate to say it, I think rappers still, certain rappers still got a little bit of clout, man.
Yeah, they definitely.
Like, what's his name?
Gilly.
I didn't know he was. Everybody know who he is.
Gilly.
I turned the T's on ESPN. He's on, every time you turn around, he was on the Shannon Sharp show,
Yeah. Like I said, of our generation, we knew of him for a while, and it's just like
he blowing up now.
Nah, it's just he's been taking his reach a lot farther. But it's
I like what he said. He sounds really intelligent, and he sounds very thoughtful. But it's just funny how he kind of hooked up with the Eagles, and he's not now, man. He's
like the mascot.
Yeah, but hold on, he did real funny side story. He comes out. He says
he's crawling on the ground.
He says he didn't know why. He just got in the moment. So he says he's standing crying, man, and snot is coming out his nose. And he said Kenny Gainwell looked at him and said, "You ain't playing.
You know you're not playing today, right?" No, he said before he said that, he said, "Man, I love this."
So, I mean, it's a lot of humor that come out. There's a lot of humor that comes out.
It is a lot of hilarious.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But I do think in terms of like influence, I mean, politicians, man, too, because they can do and say whatever they want. And their morals aren't even aligned half the time with what they be talking about.
But I know we talked about it, but I think media, like they pay $8 million for the Super Bowls for those commercials. That tells you how important. And some of those commercials were terrible. But anyway, they pay $8 million, man. So that tells you how important media is when it comes to influencing people.
I mean that's always been like that.
Yeah,
ever since they even started figuring out how to put pictures and motion together.
But honestly, I thought, because of the rise of social media, that it would die down, because there's not a lot of people who look at TV with commercials now. That's those generations.
No,
most people, you get YouTube, you push the thing to get rid of commercials.
Even with streaming, they putting these commercials in front.
What about TV in general? Like you thought that would die down?
Because it's like radio. You know what I mean? People just don't look at radio.
It's like background noise, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I was surprised because most people. Like me, I don't really pay attention to the commercials in the Super Bowl now. I don't. That's my chance to do it.
That's the only reason some people watch it.
Yeah, it is. And I thought over the years that would kind of subside, but it seems like it's at an all-time high now because everybody's talking about the commercials.
Yeah.
Like this last Super Bowl, I did watch because they went back and brought back some of the earlier commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting. But I also think another influencer is, and you said politics. I said politics, because people look at certain politicians,
and they
they do.
Their word holds a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And even talking about Donald Trump, how he just somehow has a group of people who are loyalists.
That's on both sides.
Same thing on the Democratic Party
what's her
too.
Name, the Hispanic lady?
AOC.
She got a bunch of loyalists too. So everyone on both sides.
I don't care about her. She don't have no clout. I do agree with you saying. I do agree with you saying. I do agree with you saying.
She will. Though.
I mean, I don't want to get in. We can talk that later, but I think this is. I know people won't kill me for this. This is another thing I think the Democrats are dropping the ball on.
What?
They just quiet. All this stuff is going on, man, and you this is the time you should be talking about the differences. This is the time you should talk about you have a plan. You got to stop saying, and I know that we get back to talking about. I'm so tired of politicians saying we just got to get him out of office with no plan. That's all you hear.
And this is what they. This is
you hear that all the time.
We'll just kind of let
it
play out.
Yeah, so that's what you think, man. But I do. Deidre put athletics. I think it does.
Athletes, yes.
But I also think another major influence is back to the media, but it's one like people like Stephen A. Smith, man.
I mean,
you got people who don't know sports who kind of look at him and they don't, hey.
I think he falls in that kind of entertainer.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. Entertainer.
I'm sorry. Devin wants to get him on the show. So
I'm about to say,
I can't say shenanigans.
I'm pushing for you, Stevie.
Let me tell you what I told you. I said this the other day. I said, Stephen A. Smith like the weatherman. They can always be wrong and nobody cares.
What he talks about, it shouldn't really hold that much weight anyway.
But it does.
All right. We talking about sports like basketball, but he does actually sometimes. I don't know. Like
now he's starting.
He's
an
influencer. His own podcast.
He's bringing back the well, yeah, but he is much of the loud black man has really put him into the platform. He's loud. He's loud. He can be obnoxious. He can be entertaining.
But that's his personality.
It is, but I'm saying, but that's kind of what got him out there.
Ooh, that's a good one. Pastors.
Ooh. Well, he said I didn't say it.
See, he was scared to say it.
I wasn't scared to say it. Every time I bring up something in the church, I get the little text message. I get the thing listen, and I you know, but you know me. I'm always telling the truth. But people always think I'm trying to.
Nah, it's not.
Because I think when it comes to the church, some people think it's like you're supposed to protect these secrets. You know, certain things you're not supposed to say. So I always get the little text. So thank you for saying that, Derek. Not me this time, but I get the text messages and stuff. Or somebody always send me something like you know.
And I think sometimes that's why people from the outside may be like, man, why you can't just call it like you see
it? But you know I don't care. You know I don't care.
Call it like you see it. Like
I don't always.
And nobody's saying that every pastor is like this, where they got influence and they using it. But like just stating that yes, they have influence. In some cases, it's like using it for good.
But my number five is you probably wouldn't even think about this is college professors. I'm amazed at the amount of people who repeat what their professors told them. It's funny, like, yo, what, really? And maybe it was me. It wasn't when I was in school. I don't think I was ever quoting what my professor said, but I hear that so much now with younger people. Man, my professor.
Because professors in the way
never worked this job.
I had it a little bit, but not probably to the extent now where they like, yo, you have to almost spit out their ideologies, you know, in your paper to pass a class. Like,
and I get it.
Insane.
And that's scary.
Like,
no, but I get it. When I
gotta think like you to graduate.
No, but sometimes.
Wow. That's something I'm just saying. I can
when
see
I went
that
to theological school. When I went to cuts, you remember when the cuts theological school? Yeah, I had to. I didn't agree with a lot of stuff they said, but if I put it in my paper, I got a C or D. I had to line my thoughts over their thoughts to pass the class,
which is nuts.
Now I wasn't regurgitating. Some people take it and they start to regurgitate it, but that's how they change people's
college
minds,
is supposed to be
a
place of critical thinking. You know, where ideas come together.
As long as you think like they think.
But to hear that, you know, I have to be able to, like, think like you. All right, so I do say, who is the question? Who do you think has a bigger influence, mothers or fathers?
That's a good question. I'm always so here we go again.
I don't have kids.
No,
so you get
I'm grabbing my features over there because I got stats to back it up. But I'm just saying dads. And the reason why I'm going to say dads is because dads not only help shape their young men, but they also help define what kind of man that the daughter or the female, what she sees as traits.
Yes.
She's looking at dad saying, man, I want somebody like dad, unless dad's a total screw up. So I want to say, dads. And I say dads again because I think, and I am biased, but I think if you really look at that, a dad that's doing the right thing, that's going to work, taking care of his family, man, I think he's more of a polarizing figure.
I'm glad that you clarified that and said dads that are doing the right thing, because there would be a bunch of people that would attack that and stuff.
He's more, because if you talk to any child and their dad was a dad that did the right thing, man, they remember like it was yesterday. And they don't remember with pain or frustration. They remember with fondness, and they remember some of those. I was speaking to a group of guys last Monday, and we were talking about it. And how many of you guys want to be like your dad? How many of you guys just like your dad today? And everybody started laughing because you do. Those 5 things you pick up from your dad. So I just think I would say dads, but there's some single family homes and mom carries a lot of weight, man. And so it is. But
that doesn't take away from the mother's influence, of course.
No, but you got to clarify that.
I know,
people
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, man.
That's why I put that out the disclaimer.
You're trying to say,
they say mom's not important.
No, but every boy is going to find some man to affirm in manhood.
And that
whether it may not be dad, it could be the gangbanger, it could be the teacher, it could be the athlete, it could be feminism, some feminine things that he take on. There's a lot of things. Justin LaRue, whoa.
That's my dog. Justin LaRue. I think you could argue both sides.
Everybody saw the name first.
Everybody saw to have both parents. I agree. That's kind of what I'm saying. You do need.
No, you can argue both sides, but statistics show, I'm just telling you stats. Everybody look at me. It says children without dads are more likely to go to prison, more likely to get pregnant, more likely to fall into some of the social pathologies we deal with. And again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. And I think you summed it up best. They both parents have a need, but dads play a role, man, because I put it this way. When somebody goes to take over another society or country, they attack the men. They're not attacking the women. They try to break the men first. That's what they always do. Because if you can break the men, typically the women's society follow. That's not me. That's just what they do. They did it with slavery. They did it with the Indians. They do because typically, now there's the rare people that raise up and you get these women tribes that fight back. But no, for the most part, if you break the man, the family follows. And it's no different today. It's not slavery, but it's welfare. It's like when I was working for the Housing Authority. If a mom getting benefits max benefits for daycare, max benefits for everything she needs, the dude could work in there. If the dude was living there making minimum wage, they zapped her. Now, what she was losing wasn't even balancing out to the minimum wage. It was the fact that the guy was in there. So now, I'm not defending it. That's why you had so many people in the projects, man. The mom that ain't there because there's more money. And they can live. I'm not defending it.
I like to talk about that.
I'm not defending it, and I don't mean, but I'm just saying it was more financially beneficial. Let me rephrase it. So, or I would go around, and we all know the guy living there, but when it's time for inspection, they would clean up and everything, and he would disappear.
And what's crazy is he didn't want to get caught. He
didn't want to get caught, but we all knew.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. They didn't have good jobs, and they got daycare, all the stuff. This is subsidies they needed to survive. Because daycare expensive.
Yeah,
But if he was there with his minimum wage, they would take. So I don't agree with it, but I get it. So I think, and so again, the government knows if I control the man, you go down to court, they don't tell you to spend time with your kid. They just tell you to send $25. They just send the payment. They don't care if you go or not. And a lot of especially the social ills we have in our communities, because dad is not there. So the role model is somebody else. The role model is the dude on the corner. The role model is somebody,
or a woman trying to emulate a man.
Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah. So
again, I mean, and women pay. You got both parents, Justin. You're 200% right. I would never ever disagree with that. But I'm basically talking about a two-parent. So now Derek will make this a competition.
I know. He's like, hey, he want me to say something with my wife.
Let me say this. I think and I'll use my house as an example. And there's times when my wife was having a conversation with them. And afterwards, you don't know anything about this. She says, I don't think they were paying attention. And I would say, because you were fussing at her. God, when you start fussing, men shut down. I don't know what it is. They see this. It's like a Charlie Brown thing. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. And again, I love my wife to death, but she couldn't teach you what it is to be a man. She would teach you what her version is.
Yeah. Yes.
I agree. It's the same thing when talking to Cole early on. Yeah. Mom is going to say what she think the kind of guy. Not what the attributes of a man is. So it's not a competition. We both add to it. But if you go look at statistics shows what happened when fathers are not engaged. Yeah. My thesis is on it. About 2,400 people I interviewed. My thesis published in the Library of Congress, by the way. Put that out there, so it's legit.
Want to show.
So it's legit. And that's what I do. And it makes a big difference. So I think you got to just look at the facts.
Yeah.
So I'm not, and your mom has done some great things and she's added some great value. So I say that, and she's done some things I couldn't do. But having a male presence makes a difference. And if you look, I look at some of my friends I grew up with. It's a difference.
I just think about the idea of like when you were talking about maybe getting in trouble or being disciplined, and the idea, everybody says this, when you hear wait till your dad comes home. It's a whole nother level of fear.
My dad was like beat me now. Beat me now. I don't want to get when he come home. But I got a whooping.
You don't got to tell
me. Y'all got spanked. I got whooped.
It's between us.
but I think that's another trick society has played. Is making people think that men are not valued. You know, you don't need a man, and you have women saying
that's
a whole other show. I'm just saying that's a whole other show. But you
don't need a man to snows. Watch it tomorrow.
You have people saying that you don't need a man. You don't. Now you can go down and get it. You can get shot up with somebody else's sperm. You can go to the sperm bank. Society is set up because what happens is you're more susceptible when you don't have a man. You are. You go and I look at perfect example.
That, and then just think about you're a constant consumer. You can't really necessarily build too much of anything.
And there's a lot of women do great. So let me say
I'm not saying when you come together.
But I know somebody out there listening is thinking like I'm saying.
Unit.
But if you look at it, and even in a biblical sense, he created man first. And he said, I'm going to give you a helpmeet. Not your slave or a flunky, your helpmeet. And real quick, and I say this all the time, Derek hears me say, it's like when he created man, he said, I'm giving you dominion. Dominion means take responsibility for it. It doesn't mean be a boss. So we're supposed to take responsibility for the female. It's biblically based. I'm not making it up. So I think we get it twisted because we turn it into a competition. And another Eagles analogy. We just got finished talking about it. No, because I think it's a perfect fit. It's like everybody takes Jalen Hurts and they judge him based on what other quarterbacks know. Not he's successful.
How he's performing.
And I think we do that in relationships too.
We do that in everything.
We look at something and say, that's the level of success, and it's not. And I think it's funny because I was having this conversation with a female today because she was saying she went somewhere and the husband was setting out all this stuff for the Super Bowl, doing this stuff, man, and some people had a problem with it, and I'm like, well, I don't understand. Because if that's his role in a relationship and it worked, who cares? And I think that's the problem, though. We've taken things and says, everybody has to be like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case. I think, and we've lost sight of that. I think we've lost sight of what important is, man, what things are important. And you hear it all the time. Oh, so in a relationship. And then the other thing is, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Never do. Never.
How many of my friends who didn't have a dad who hung around my house because of my dad? This ain't me making it up. Who, because of my dad, hung around my house, man, or they had such respect for my dad. Mm-hmm. So I mean, how many friends you had? So it doesn't matter.
I was thinking about growing up and playing in camp, Him Achievement Network, and having a group of men that were looked up to as. For some father figures, and it was just like
all had good jobs.
Yeah, all of them had great jobs. They had their own families, and people that I know again looked up to them and like were father figures.
I'm going into the school tomorrow, because I do a lot of work in schools, and a lot of young men I deal with some of the issues they're going through. They need a brother. They need there should be somebody man to guide them through the process. I remember when my mom was talking to me about females, and God rest her soul. In my mind. You just looking out for your kind. You know what I mean? Seriously, you that's what you're supposed to do. See everybody. So I did. But when my dad talked to me about how to treat a woman different, it was a whole different because it was coming from somebody.
Got a woman.
When he talked about manhood and different things of manhood, I got it.
Yeah. And you know what? That little kind of just that idea that perspective, means so much when it's like a father talking to his son, telling him how to be a man and how to move and how to navigate things. Again, you'll hear some things from your mother on how to treat a lady, but it's just it's not the same.
So I think that's where we are. And I think sometimes, I don't even know how we got on this conversation, but sometimes
it was a fan question.
But sometimes we get pulled into that, and I go back to I think it's important, and this goes back to me. A lot of this goes back to identity, is being comfortable and confident in who you are, and when you get two people who are comfortable and confident, you work through stuff like that. But if you got one person or two people who are allowing everybody outside to dictate what it looks like, look, I love my mom and dad to death. I never saw them argue. So when I got married, I thought people didn't argue. That wasn't the case. My mom waited on my dad sandwiches. When I got married. I remember the first time your mom said, "You hungry?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, you have to give me a sandwich too." I'm like, wait a minute, that's how this work now. I thought you
new age.
I thought, so a lot of times we get the false perception of things. And we allow that to infiltrate our marriage instead of saying, okay, what's my role going to be in this relationship? what's your role? Now we got to stick to our roles. You can't be flipping back and forth. Like there is a reason why I do the laundry, because I like my white stuff white. I do. I use bleach. Your mom didn't use bleach. Y'all know why I ain't got to get into that, because I'm a crease guy. I like creases.
Yeah.
I creased everything.
I know. It was torture as a child. I'm walking around with creased pants.
That's right. You were neat.
Yeah.
I'm 12 years old.
I'm
8.
I know. I'm like,
but you were neat. Nicole gets away about McKinsey. Don't iron this stuff, because I like McKinsey stuff. But I still use
playing tackle football, getting up pants still straight.
That's right. You were washing them creases still, hang them up creases still. So, but I think people have to find their role, man. I think when people come to me,
identity, purpose, all these.
I always say find your voice, and I got that phrase because when I was trying to figure out how to be a public speaker, I was emulating people at first. You try to be like this person, and it just doesn't feel natural. And when it doesn't feel natural, you don't come across naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't come across naturally, folk ain't paying attention to you. I don't care what you got to say. So I had to find my own voice. And I say that, I think it's the same thing in relationships. You got to find your voice, man. What works in your relationship? And I heard somebody say this to me yesterday, or was it Friday? It was Friday. And I think Thursday, and I think it was the wisest statement I ever heard when it came to marriage. He said, "Let me tell you something." He said, "You can date as long as you want to date, but you will never learn the things of a lifetime that you want to have with somebody. You can date for 6 years, but you're never going to know everything, because people are going to change on life. People are going to grow different things. So that's part of the deal." Mm-hmm. Nobody tell you that before you get married. You hear right there, but that's part of the deal, man. And when you look at it that way, you understand, man, that we're going to go through some things because we're going to be different. But our thing is not everybody else thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's okay if you got a wife who maybe makes more money than you make. If it's okay for y'all, it's cool. I say it all the time. I ain't got no problem being a stay-home dad. Man, you making 6 figures. I got this. I got this. Pursue. That's right. Pursue my own interests. Write my books. Work on my books. Work on my books. Man. I stay home with you.
I had so much time, so I had a couple
But Devin, I stay home with you, and I remember I got grief about that. But I also remember people telling me, "Man, you go to all that games, you do all this stuff," because I had to shift gears. I couldn't do stuff I was doing before. When you were little, I was dragging you to basketball games, dragging you to football games. But I had to find out what worked for me. And I think we get so busy trying to be what everybody, try to be like the relationship our parents had, or the guy down the street, which you don't know what's going around the corner, behind the doors, or somebody on TV instead. Okay, baby, what works for us?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I've got to look at it. There are things that I would love to kind of,
we like all topic here.
Yeah, man. Take from you and mom's relationship and marriage that I'm like, I aspire to kind of have some of those things.
Yeah.
But also understand, like, yes, this is our relationship.
I'm implementing things now that I saw my mom and dad do years ago. Because at that time where I was in my relationship, it wasn't applicable. It's applicable now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's different now.
Yeah.
I've learned things from you that I can now do with Mackenzie that I didn't know before.
True, very true.
So it's a relationship's no different. You learn it, man. You learn as you go through the process. It's like being a mom and being a dad, man. You can. I said this to somebody yesterday, and they started laughing. They looked at me. People buy these books and they go to counselors. And I'm not saying don't buy books. Don't make it a bunch
don't
clear.
Read and don't talk to nobody.
No, but what I'm saying is that's somebody's opinion. Regardless, it's still somebody's opinion. And it doesn't mean it works for your relationship. You know what I mean? We get so caught up because dude got PhD behind his name or master behind his name. We don't even know what's really. He could just write the PhD. We don't know. But we
went
do.
to school for this, but I don't have no kids.
And we take over. Let me tell you, I've been in the class with somebody. When I was going back to get my master's, sitting there, and what was it? I think it was a philosophy class, and we were talking about the philosophies and things. So the lady comes up, she says, "Yeah, well, you have to think outside. You got to think differently." So she says, "What if your daughter came home and she stopped eating? She started locking herself in the room. She started dressing different. What would that mean to you? So I'm listening to everybody in the classroom, and she's like, "Oh yeah, well, people go through these changes. I got a problem with that.
What's wrong with you?
I know my daughter. Yeah. And I say, she says, well, it could be because of a boy. That's even worse that another human being is controlling life like that. But everybody in the classroom's like, yeah, you know what she said to me? Yeah. Oh, you must don't have kids. Not only do I have kids, I work with like 400 kids, but that's her response. So
like, what was you supposed to talk
to? I didn't get to lock the door until I was like in college.
But that's what happens is just like in that class, we assume because somebody has a title that they know everything. We assume because somebody has a degree, they know everything. Or just because it works for him doesn't mean it works for you. Like another thing, and somebody will get upset when I say this. Like your mom and I, we never take separate. Your mom and I don't take separate vacations. We just don't. We don't do girls trips, and some people do. It don't work for us. The first time we did it was when y'all took me to Boston for Father's Day, and she went to Aruba for Mother's Day. But we always, we have a date night, but we're together all the time.
You know what's funny? Like even what you're saying that, because it's. You hear people talk about their relationship or their marriage sometimes, and like they just talk about it like they're miserable, like they need to get away, get a break, like this is the worst thing that they ever done type thing. Like it's so crazy.
But it's like drugs.
I just got engaged. Just hear that drug. but now that's all I hear. It's like, oh my God, why did you do that? Like,
but to me, it's why people get hooked on drugs.
No.
Because you go away to feel relief temporarily. Then you go back to the same problem. So now you got to go away more.
Yeah. Just got back.
You already planned the next vacation. Man, when the next boys, I got another set of boys ain't go this time. So I think
we could just drive the AC.
But I think it's like my lesson tonight in the father class was you got to invest in yourself. I think if you got two people, and this is a whole other show, who know who they are, but are investing themselves as individuals to work together for a common cause, you work through those challenges and difficulties. You do. Yeah. Because, I don't believe in a 7-year itch. Not people say 7-year itch you want to cheat. I think what happens after 7 years is people grow apart. And so now I grow apart. I'm talking to somebody who I'm building this connection with because I'm not working. You know what I mean?
You're not working on what you should be working on. Because it's easy to do. And society makes it easy because they got no fault divorce. It's somebody's fault. Yeah. It's somebody's fault. So I think, again, and we got to go back and you have to become individuals and stop comparing your relationship to everybody else because it may not work. She may make more money. She may make less. You may decide you want your wife to stay home and not move to a bigger house. You may decide that, you don't need material things to make you feel good. What some people think, I got to get the Beamer, I got to get the Mercedes. Some people think that. Yeah, that's very much, I feel like a lot of people are like that.
There's some people who like working and doing manual labor. They love doing manual labor. I like a little bit
of that, get my hands
But I'm just saying, there's some people who love it. They're not doing it. Love it. Yeah, but some people do. They prefer to do that thing. I know people went to college and they're doing manual labor. And it's not because they're dumb or stupid. It's because that's what they like to do.
It's a passion.
But then there's some people, I got to have this job because I got to wear a suit and tie because I got to impress people. No, I mean, you got to figure out,
what it is.
How do you, I'll finish the 2 questions I asked all over the place. Who wants to be successful? Who wants to be happy? And everybody raised their hand. But let me say, define success and define happiness. Most folks don't know what it means. They start repeating stuff. Yeah, I want to get no, you're naming stuff that's not, you're naming material things that's not going to last long, which means your happiness is not going to be sustainable. What makes you happy?
I think that's a whole nother broader question. Because I thought about this before, like just the idea of, you may have said this too, like asking people who they are,
I don't know. I'll say, tell me who you are without using your name or title.
Yeah, right.
Silence.
Right.
Definite silence.
And I think, honestly, there's a lot of people out here who, when you strip them down off of, take away their title, take away a car and all these things, it is extremely difficult for them to describe who they are, what type of person they are.
If you're watching this, man, I'm trying to get a job.
I think that's what's wrong with some relationships, too.
But if you're watching this, I'm trying to get a job doing this. See, I think, they need to hire somebody like me to be in professional sports. No, seriously, because I think that's the conversation that you need to have.
You're trying to create his dream job.
I sure am. But I think you got to begin to have that conversation with these young athletes. Not just about how to manage your money, because you can learn how to manage your money, but be a complete freaking idiot. You can be the richest guy in the face of the NBA, would be an idiot, and that goes away very quickly. But somebody needs to talk to them about, make your own way. Don't do stuff like, because everybody else is doing it, and you get on the team and everybody getting high or doing whatever. You don't do it because everybody. Be unique. That thing that made you different in basketball, be different in life. You didn't go to the gym and mimic somebody else. You worked on to hone your craft. So I think, that's me applying. So if you're out there and you hear this, they do need that. But I think that needs to be part of high school curriculum. Self-exploratory. Find out who you are, man. Stop trying to be like everybody else. I got
turn the TV off.
24-year-old people work for me, man. Well, I did it because he did it. I did it because she did it. Like, come on, man. Being happy depends on something happening. I choose joy.
Yeah, it's a choice. Got to choose it.
Yeah, but that's not. But see, that's joy and happiness is joy. What I'm saying is, if you never define what happiness is, how you achieve it? How? If you never say this is what and other than material stuff, because it goes away. How do you achieve it? How do you know what you're chasing? You don't know. You say it because everybody else say it. How many people say, "Oh, money fixes it," but then we saw rich people what they go through because they think money is not the key. Happiness is something that you have to come from the inside. Part of it comes from being comfortable with who you are.
Yes.
Realizing that I'm not in competition with somebody else. I may not have a Beamer, but I'm cool. I'm gonna wipe the little Jeep and Acura we got. We're fine. I'm okay where we live at. Some people happiness, they gotta have a big house. So but if you don't define it, you're always chasing something like this. It's like chasing a unicorn, man. You don't know what it is. It's like, I want to be successful. How are you gonna be there? I don't know. I'm gonna be how you don't know how you gonna be successful?
I mean, kids nowadays don't know how to do a lot of things.
Not just kids, adults.
I'm just saying.
But most kids don't know because the adults don't know how to have those conversations. You can't give what you don't have. So you can't pass one to your kids. Like if you don't got a work ethic, how you gonna pass your kids to have a work ethic? If you don't dream or
I'm gonna drop them off.
Have a vision. Yeah, if you don't have a dream, if you don't have a dream or have a vision,
he's bring the kids to me. Coach Chris got them.
How are you gonna pass it on to your kids? That's why a lot of these kids don't dream, don't have no vision to talk about tomorrow because nobody's telling them.
Yeah.
Nobody's telling them. I was watching who was the athlete who said this, and he said, Saquon Barkley said, I was watching him, and they talking about he was great. What made him great last year? And he said, you know what? He said, yeah, it was my talent. He said, God bless me. I got God-given talent. But know what else he said? And my hard work. He said, I had a talent, but my hard work harvested the talent that God gave me. Mm-hmm. People leave the hard work part out. And I think even when it comes to happiness, man, you need to be able to say, this is what makes me happy and not be material stuff. Because if your car makes you happy, your car ain't brand new forever. Or somebody stealing your happiness? No. What station of life will you be content? And content and happiness is also two different things. You can be content somewhere knowing that you want to keep moving forward. But most people, in corporate America, ask the question, everybody raised in, identify that. Now people stuttering. They don't know or they're making stuff up. Oh, yeah, what he said. Oh, yeah, I want to have $1 million. You can't even manage $9. You complaining because you got 10 grand and cousin Ray trying to hit you up. What you gonna do with $1 million?
Cousin Ray.
So I think I would tell people, define what happiness means to you, man, and don't get some quote off a geek reading card or don't give your answer to make other people feel good.
Read a book.
What makes you happy? See, for me, I'm happy. I'm in a place in my life right now, man. I'm not rich. I could use a little more. I'm not poor. My body a little beat up right now, but I'm healthy. I get up every day. I know people my age who don't get up. I've been blessed with you guys, the three of you guys. I got a great grandson. Life is good. There's so many more things right with my life than wrong with my life.
And I think it's a matter like mindset and how you choose to look at it. It is. People tend to live in negativity and don't like. We were talking about relationships a little bit. People don't look at the broader, just the good things, that even brings you together sometimes, or the things that you do have every day that you can take the time to look at and appreciate. And
Saturday night, Saturday night was the perfect example. When you got engaged Saturday, I'm cool. I'm in there, man. I got my troops. I got my family, man. I got everything I need. My son is getting engaged. We get another addition to the family. I was Mr. McKenzie, but that's a whole different story.
This can't do nothing. Like, this is nuts. Y'all taking everywhere.
You know, my dude wasn't
engaged. I get engaged.
He should have been in the celebration.
Gotta be there.
He should have been in the celebration.
It's 10:30.
So what? He should have been in the celebration. He could have been hanging out with me, Grandpa. Grandpa.
Oh my goodness, it's ridiculous.
No, but so and I was cool. I didn't need. That was it. That was in my world.
I think be grateful for the little things. You know?
Yeah.
You mentioned being just able to get up and walk, and just not a lot of people can actually do that.
And true happiness is not about a moment.
Gratitude.
I think true happiness, and we reduce it to a moment. You know, and to me, that's not true happiness. That's just true happiness is something that endures time.
Yeah.
You know, it's part decision, it's part attitude.
Yes. Part decision.
Yeah, it is this part. Because sometimes you got to say, look, you know what? I ain't going to let people screw this up for me. You know, sometimes people just stupid.
Or sometimes just reflect and look at yourself. Like, it's just sometimes it is, we do it to ourselves. Like,
you look
the
at
problems that we have. Like, it's things, sometimes we, kind of have a mindset of, thinking that, woe is me. Like, this person did this to me. This person did this. And sometimes you put yourselves in these positions.
Yeah, but you know what?
Self-sabotage.
But you learn from it.
Yeah.
You learn from it, you move on. And I say this. I said this to somebody today. I was talking to a young lady I work with today, and we were talking about some things. And I said, two young ladies. I said, because they were talking about things that happened to them. I said, look at it this way. Those people who did this to you, you think they sitting around worrying about it?
Like, man, I can't believe I did that.
Yo, they enjoying it. You sitting there. I said, they probably not even showing remorse. They like, yo,
probably one just got married.
And you punishing yourself more.
Right.
At some point, you got to say, yo, is my new phrase is I'm going to get a t-shirt that say, let it go.
You're going to get sued for that.
At some point,
Frozen. Frozen. It's a whole song. That was a banger for the summer.
I was saying let it go when I was running around. I was running around my 3/4 Jordans.
They shut down that Harry Potter festival.
They just had lightning bolts.
They was not playing. Are you selling butterscotch and calling it butter beer?
I'll change it. Don't hold on to it.
Don't hold on to it.
Is that better? Don't hold on to it.
Black Elsa.
So I just changed the concept. All right? Don't hold on to it is my new name. Is that better?
That's perfect.
Takes up more space.
I actually like that.
Elsa to Alicia.
Don't
hold on to it. Nah, but as we close, I think it kind of ties into what we're talking about, how we make everything a competition, man.
Yeah.
It's always, why can't we coexist sometimes? And you know me, I hate to lose. But everything
we
is
all do.
Yeah, but we got to stop doing it about everything.
Yeah.
About man versus woman. We got to stop that, man. Neighbor versus neighbor. And I say that because you never have peace if you always trying to outdo
That's
somebody.
Where we live right now. It's like,
no, I'm not disagreeing.
No, I'm just saying.
I agree with you.
It's highlighting going now.
Like, man.
I work with somebody.
You want to flip the table.
I work with somebody, and no matter what you say, he got a better story. So we were talking. Somebody was asking me about your mom's birthday. So I was talking to somebody, getting some ideas, because y'all had told me stuff before we decided to go away. So I was like, man, that's a good idea. I said, it's funny because my son suggested the same thing, about, get a house and everything. So we're talking. So he comes over, so the lady was nice. She said, well, I don't know what your budget is, but you may want to consider all this stuff we're talking. Man, I just gave my wife $6,000. Who cares?
Good for you, buddy.
Who cares?
Why? You mean your ex-wife?
I just gave her $6,000 and I bought a $2,000 pocketbook, and he goes down this whole thing. Like, why?
These people are sick.
Like, why? And we were just having nobody was comparing things. We were just having a conversation. She was actually telling me, because she said her and her spouse, they went to somewhere, and they had a Jamaica, and they had a manservant, and she was saying, you get a full-time butler.
I was just call a butler. They call him manservant. Yeah.
Okay, you had a full-time butler. That's kind of demeaning, but anyway, full-time butler.
I'd rather be a butler than a male servant.
Anyway, And she was just talking about how it was cool, because they're there from everything. Turn the bed back. They'll, whatever you need, man. Breakfast, they whatever you need, And so she was walking me through the process, giving me the different options, because I was like, I don't, your mom don't like to stay on resorts because we started renting a house there. I said, yeah, and that's what he does, Or I was talking to another friend of mine. We were talking about how our kids borrow our cars when their cars break down. We were just talking. He's like, yeah, man, my daughter. I said, look, man. I said, I got a car in my garage, my Acura. Wife don't drive. I said, my kids drive. What do we do? I said, they don't even rent cars now. Something happened. They come, and I said, it's cool because that's what it's there for. Yeah. I said, that's what it's there for. Man, my daughter want to borrow one of my Mercedes, man, the truck of the car, man.
Some lady was doing that.
We just gave her $10,000 to buy our own car. Like, dude, we weren't even talking about. We were talking about the act.
They just can't help it.
So I say that because for some people, everything's a competition, and it's not healthy.
I just embrace it.
Man, I want to be the best version. I want to be the best version of me, man. That's my goal, man. I can't be,
I know.
I said this, and this is truth. This is true.
There's some people, I think, when they do start bragging like that, it's because they feel maybe a little intimidated or some type of way. Right?
You know what? And this is what I say to people. And I've won a lot in my life, and you can say the same thing. Through basketball, I've won a lot in my life. I do, and I'm proud of it. I've won trophies, I've won awards, I've been winning. But you know what? The most important win I got in life is my life. And nobody cares how many MVPs I got or how many awards I won, or who cares? And anybody I see now that's still talking about it, they still stuck in the past. There's a guy in the safe house up with Shelton. Not safe house, called, I almost gave the name of the place. It's a Shelton in Westchester. And we used to play in the same circles. So we got to talking about some of the people we know. So I was talking about vision. And he says, well, man, you can't.
I'm a great passer.
He said, no, you can't plan for tomorrow, man. You just got to live for the day. Dude, that's why you were living in the shelter. That's why you living in the shelter. Because I'm not saying it sarcastically, because you don't have a plan for tomorrow. So where you going?
Here. That's the plan.
So I think, we either one or the other. Either we just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, or we constantly chasing something. And it goes back to what we were talking about, where I think it all comes down to knowing who you are, man.
Yes.
Knowing who you are, being comfortable who you are. And anything you don't have, believing you can get it.
I'm very much a believer in that. Yeah. I think I can get everything and anything.
And Mackenzie,
but I know I got to work.
Mackenzie, they gonna stop dissing you, man. I'm on about that, man. He gonna watch.
I know he's watching.
I'm gonna make sure y'all stop dissing
on YouTube.
That's what they say. Bluey not in whatever he watches.
He watches our parade dance.
That's y'all. It's because it got the Eagles in it. It ain't us.
You will stop dissing my grandson.
I'm not dissing your grandson, but he needs to toughen up. But thank you guys for watching tonight.
I'm offended by that, man.
Get in the gym.
He gonna be a Fortune 500 dude.
He's super smart. I was actually bragging about him. Then we talking about competing. There was this lady at the Ritz-Carlton talking about her son, and I was like, I don't have a kid, so I just talked about Mackenzie. I was like, he speaks 2 languages. He played chess. I don't even know if he can do half these things.
We were walking down the street.
At some point, I'm sure he.
We were walking down the street, right? And he's reading the actual street signs. 76 West, Valley Forge. This lady stopped and looked like, how many times you walk down the street? I said, this is his first time. Because he was like, I'm like looking at him too. He's reading the signs downtown. We go to the parade. Brilliant. He's just reading the signs, man. But did I realize some things you don't want to read? Because we saw this poster, Mackenzie. Don't say that. But he reads everything you walk past. Yeah. He's like, how many times? Like, I guess you thought he was memorizing, but he was just reading the signs.
Memorizing. It's favorite part of the city.
Yeah. All right. Another great show.
Appreciate you guys.
Like, follow, subscribe, share, comment.
Let me know how you like our new format too, man. I think
it's flow nicely, man. Flow nicely, bro. Check us out on all platforms. Join us again next week. We appreciate you guys checking us out tonight. We actually appreciate and love the feedback, the comments. Like,
shout out to Justin LaRue.
Keeps the show going. Justin LaRue, the homie. I haven't seen you in so long. Man, I don't be on Facebook like that. I need to get back on there. Thank you guys. Take care. We still on YouTube, so real quick, I can make this announcement.